Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
And indeed, we are back. Firstly, thanks to Sam Tavares for joining me again, the VP of Content Development with Media. Very honored to have him. First time on the podcast with him, so thank you, Sam. Now, do you know what yesterday was? Yesterday was the anniversary of the storming of Bastille. See, what happened was when the United States declared its independence from Great Britain, it did inspire a lot more revolution. And so how fitting it was that Bastille Day happened yesterday, as the Cubans are now fighting for their freedom in what could be an even a much more people-friendly Cuban revolution. A better revolution because they want to get rid of the oppressors, the communists, the dictatorship down there. And why shouldn't we support that? But you know what all these things have in common? I didn't put this together till I heard this audio clip. It's a bit of a backstory to it, but I want you to first hear what exactly I'm fired up about tonight. USA, USA, USA. So these are people on a flight bound from, I guess, Washington, D.C. on the day of the insurrection. Look, they weren't arrested, so I'm sure they weren't storming the Capitol that day on the 6th. But they're cheering USA, USA, USA. And then passengers, so excited about this, then got this piece of audio from the pilot.
This is what it's going to be. It's a 4.5-hour flight up to Phoenix. We'll put this plane down in the middle of Kansas and dump people off. We don't care. We will do that if that's what it takes. So, behave, please.
Okay, behave. The pilot's asking them to stop cheering and chanting. And first of all, I kind of looked. Is there a rule for not chanting USA, USA? Didn't see one in the rule book. The only real rule I know is about not saying bomb on an airplane. I didn't realize chanting USA was a bad thing. So that's number one. Why shouldn't we chant USA wherever we feel compelled to? It's America. It's why we celebrated July 4th, for the freedom to say it. And of course, it did kind of remind me that imagine Austin Powers was in charge of that airplane.
Oh, behave.
Yeah, so there's that too. But, behave. The pilot's telling the people to stop chanting USA, USA. Threatened to dump them in the middle of Kansas. By the way, this was, as I mentioned, back in January, but I just got wind of it today and it fired me up. Because in this month of freedom, my one question is, did freedom fighters actually behave? Did they behave towards Great Britain, or did they rebel to the point where they could be free from the tyranny? Did the French behave and continue to be guillotined, beheaded at the guillotine? Or did they storm that Bastille and free themselves from the tyranny in France? We wouldn't have been free if we simply behaved. We wouldn't have been free if we simply complied with what Great Britain wanted. Now, the rebellion started, as you might know, in April 1775 with the Boston Tea Party, with Paul Revere, that historical city of Boston. But it grew. And sane militias took on battles of Lexington and Concord. Sane militias helped carry us to the finish line. Patriots did help George Washington get to go across the Delaware. Patriots respected American government, if you think about it, and they rebelled against Great Britain. But they believed in the authority that was building this country. They believed in the founding fathers and what they were building here. Which is why, to me, January 6th is not good behavior. I'll say that right here, and I've said it again. And I'll say it again. That was going after our own government. That's not how we behave here. And, I'm glad that these people flying from Washington, D.C. weren't arrested, firstly. It seems like maybe they were just regular people who wanted to chant USA after that event. I meant the Trump speech. Anyway, good on them for chanting USA, USA. But ultimately, when we break free from something, we don't behave. Because our natural behavior would be to keep going to someone that we are nervous to be around. Our natural behavior is to, if there's an addiction, keep doing the addiction and not working on it. Our natural behavior doesn't get us farther in life, if you think about it. So we cannot just behave in everyday life. We have to retrain ourselves. We have to take out our inner natural behavior to break free from cycles and break free from patterns and break free from addictions, from gambling, from everything. But on the bigger picture, why are cops out on the streets trying to arrest these protesters? Because in Cuba, because they don't like. They feel like they're not behaving and complying with the law that is oppressive in Cuba. So that disobedience, that misbehavior will get them free. You watch. Maybe, sadly, it will get them killed too. But I'd like to think of the better option, which is them being actually freed from the Castro regime once and for all. And then they can tear down the Che Guevara posters that hang proudly in Cuba. They're not behaving because they don't want to put up with it anymore. Behavior is, in some instances, compliance. And sometimes you just cannot comply. The Founding Fathers, as I mentioned, didn't comply with Great Britain. They rebelled. They had the fighting spirit of them. There was bloodshed. There was misbehavior. There was going against the king. When some may not have wanted to go against the king. But the majority did. So, when you say to a bunch of USA chanters, behave, it's almost like you're telling them, do not fight for freedom in the USA. Do not voice your opinion in the USA, about United States. When you tell them to behave and try and silence them, you basically silence what efforts the last 245 years have been about, which is freedom of speech, firstly, which is freedom to be in America and love America. When you tell them to behave and don't say that, you're telling them basically don't love America, in my view. We didn't become free on good behavior. Not at all. We became free because we were gutsy. We were chanting USA. We were carrying Betsy Ross's flag everywhere we went. Francis Scott Key saw the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air towards freedom. That wasn't behavior. That was lighting up a night sky like we do every 4th of July in the pursuit of freedom. No, good behavior can only get you so far. Now, I'm not saying be crude, be shrewd, be whatever. And I'm not saying don't misbehave in many circumstances. But if you feel like chanting, chant USA in the middle of the streets of America. If that is misbehaving, then I'll misbehave all day long. If chanting USA on a plane is misbehaving, I would still chant it. Because this is America. And again, I didn't see any rules for not chanting USA. You know, another thing about this, there was a lot of defense last year of misbehavior of the rioting and looting. There was a lot of discussion about how the cops didn't behave with protesters. Well, in Cuba, you've got these people wanting to be free, being, was it billy clubbed or whatever, being knocked around. And guess what? There's no one defending them right now. I don't see my social media feed lit up with pro-Cuba protest posts. So they must continue to misbehave to be free in Cuba. We must have their back towards this rebellion that we're seeing. And if it's misbehavior to say the government shouldn't keep giving us stimuluses, then fine, I'll misbehave there too. If it's improper to say why can't people work? If it's improper to ask why people can't work, then I'll be improper. I'll misbehave on the way towards freedom. We did not become independent 245 years ago just to be dependent on the government again. On our own government. Our own government was started because they wanted to help the colonies. They wanted to help the people. This is hurting the people. This kind of government help is letting people off the hook from working. I believe that. I see the numbers. It's sad. And there are people who don't mind it, and they probably can work. And to those who continue to apply for work, keep going, man or gal. You're going to get there. Employers want to hire now. That's the fact. And I wish more people would talk about that fact. That employers want to hire. That they want you to break free of the unemployment and get back employed. They're willing to help you get there. And you will. If you continue to work hard. The whole idea post-COVID was to break out of the unemployment slump that we've continued to be in. So, if advocating for people to consider and truly think about applying themselves again is misbehaving, is not proper because, we need the government to help, this is a good thing, I'll set it straight. It's not a good thing. It's misbehavior by the government, actually. Because the government's supposed to lift us up, right? Limited government, yes. But I mean lift us up. Bring people out of its misery. That's why people come to America, because they find it will lift them out of their misery. Yet I have felt this whole staying in misery notion continued. And now, sadly, these variants are starting to be used as stay-at-home weapons now. I'm very nervous about that. I don't know how that turns out. I hope, I hope people do get vaccinated. I hope they first be encouraged to be informed about the vaccine. It's always been inform people about the vaccine. Don't make them take it. Inform them first. But we are at a crossroads, okay? We are at a crossroads where we have a country right below us in Cuba that wants to break free. We are at a crossroads where millions were addicted, according to CDC, because of the pandemic, to any kind of substance. We're at a crossroads right now that tells me if we don't set the record straight, if we don't right this ship, I don't know where we're going. I don't. And that's scary. But we can avoid that cliff and just win, baby. Just get back to work, baby. That's what we got to tell people. To get back to work is a freeing thing. It might even free you from your mindset that you're feeling right now. But I know you got to be empowered to get back to work. You got to make sure the businesses are safe again to work at. I get it. But once you see that, what's stopping you? President Biden, you keep talking about how you want to turn the economy around. You know, the unemployment numbers keep climbing. Why? Why isn't there a leadership angle here saying, let's get back to work? Because the more we keep, like, sort of dangling the extended unemployment, and the more we keep dangling things that will be more of a handout than an actual go-getting thing, is the less America will be, is the less free we'll be. And I don't want us to be conditioned to where good behavior is always wearing a mask. I don't want us to be conditioned to be on good behavior means to just take from the government. That's bad behavior. I don't want us to be a nation that says, oh, here's a business, but we're not going to help them. Oh, and by the way, we messed up small businesses so much, you've got to help them. You put, as the local governments put the onus on us to help small businesses, well, clearly could have done more for them during the pandemic. You ever notice that? This is not good behavior from what we're seeing in leadership right now. It's not. Good behavior would outright be encouraging people to support Cuba's fight for freedom away from communism and socialism. Good behavior is actually, in the eyes of many on the far, far, far extreme left, bad behavior. Isn't that insane? Good behavior is, for the far left, fringe left, bad behavior. It's a bad thing to try and go get work, it feels like. It's a bad thing. Remember, they used to be how evil it is. They're trying to open up their business again. These business owners have to survive. That's good behavior to try and open and figure a way through it and adapt. But if this chant is bad behavior, and a pilot has to come on and say, behave, what's it say about everything else? Don't love America? Be silent about that? While many want to burn and desecrate our flag, be silent about your love of America? Is that what we're supposed to do? Is that the good behavior for some eyes or some viewpoints? That for us to be silent is best for America? To suppress our love for this country is best for America? Is that what people are trying to tell us? Because go out, fly the flag, be on your worst behavior then. If loving America is bad behavior, go out and be bad about it. Not storm a Capitol bad. but be proud of your nation. Many that come over and become naturalized are proud of this nation. We all know January 6th was not a proud moment. We get that. We know that. But is desecrating a flag better behavior? Is rioting and looting New York City stores, smashing windows, better behavior? Is actually wanting a police force to defend our streets bad behavior? Is that a bad idea? Is that a bad notion now? Up is down, down is up, it feels like. When we can't even chant USA on an airplane. Especially because 20 years ago, airplanes were used against this country. 20 years later, they want to cheer USA on an airplane. And the pilot should have supported them. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, let's be on our worst behavior. Well, I hate saying that. Let's be misbehaving moderately in favor of America. Let's keep speaking out against bad policies. Let's keep saying USA, USA, USA. Because that is good behavior to me. Bad behavior is when someone yells in the pulpit, "Goddamn America." That's been said before. That's bad behavior. And if you don't think so, then that's a problem. We must not let the hating of America be viewed as better behavior than the loving of America. We must continue to love America and show that that behavior is what will heal us, not divide us. We must show the hometown cookouts where people are gathering and neighbors are gathering. That is great behavior. That is unity that I love to see. On a random street in middle America, gotta love that. But let's not be silenced. Let's not be told saying USA, USA is bad behavior. I want you to hear the whole clip again.
USA! USA! This is what it's going to be. It's a 4.5-hour flight up to Phoenix. We'll put this plane down in the middle of Kansas and dump people off. We don't care. We will do that if that's what it takes. So, behave, please.
Behave. Behave. Behave and don't love your country is what I feel there in that soundbite. On an airplane. Behave and shut up and don't love your country. You know, I feel like I want to start flying a flag on my rollerblade and showing support for America. Because we need every little bit of support we can get. We need the misfits who love America to misbehave a little bit and tell people why they love America. Share their story of how America has helped them. Because we have our faults. And I really thought Juneteenth was going to be a healing moment. Because they finally honored the day where freeing slaves became a full reality. How is that not a national holiday? Before this year. But the rest of it, we need to fix. We need to behave differently. And we need to change mindsets before the mindset kills us entirely. I mean kills us as a country. Because the moment you say don't support America, is the moment society decreases way more. So let's be on our worst behavior and love America. But do it responsibly. Please. Do it responsibly. Vote the way that they don't want you to vote, which is, for the best candidate. Be in the mindset of, if saying I love the United States of America is bad, then I'll be bad. And I'll say, I love the United States of America. By the way, tomorrow, 16 years since 13 years since going out to the
Oh, behave.
I'm sorry, yeah, I am tripping up there, aren't I? 13 years since I went to Ireland at age 16. I'll show you my medal on Alex G NYC1 from the competitions there. Alex G NYC1, where you can also see my crutch stand in front of Lady Liberty in honor of Bastille Day. Remember, one of the French's greatest gifts to us was no doubt, the Statue of Liberty. Freedom! They misbehaved for freedom. And we have to say we love America and do the work to keep our freedom 245 years later. Even if that does mean misbehaving and rebelling against the societal norms. Alex Garrett here. Thanks for listening to Alex Garrett Podcasting. We'll talk to you very, very soon.